Hello again, everyone. Welcome to our 7th kanji lesson. Now, before we get into our new kanji for today, I'd actually like to talk to you about kanji radicals. Now that we've learned a good number of kanji, I think it's an appropriate time to introduce this concept. So, radicals are essentially the building blocks of kanji. Most kanji are made up of multiple radicals. This is why sometimes you'll see several different kanji that look very similar. It can be because they have a lot of the same radicals, or that the most prominent radicals in them are the same. There are, however, a few kanji that are a single radical in and of themselves. But one thing to understand, even the most complex, time-consuming to write kanji with a bunch of different strokes can be broken down into smaller radicals. So here are some of the kanji that we've seen already that are a single radical in and of themselves. Now you may be noticing already, hey, wait a minute, we've got ichi and ni right here. Why is ni a single radical kanji? Why isn't ni a kanji made up of two radicals, both of which would be ichi in this case? In fact, it looks like there are a lot of single radical kanji in here that could be said to contain the radical for ichi. And that gets into one of the things about this. I studied Japanese for 4 years. I spent a year in Japan, but I am still not entirely sure how it's determined what is a radical and what isn't. I'm not going to tell you to just memorize these radicals because, one, I don't think it's super essential to learn this. It is something that I want you to know about because I do think it's useful to know. But I think that a lot of this is stuff that can be picked up over your course of time learning these kanji. Um, so the short answer is I do not know. I am not sure why ni or, for example, ju get to count as single radical kanji, even though they seem to include the radical ichi. But moving on from that, here are some of the kanji that we've seen so far that have multiple radicals that make them up. So let's briefly take a look at some simple kanji that are made up of multiple radicals and see how those radicals break down. First up, we've got our kanji for bright, and this is made up of two radicals, the radical for sun and the radical for moon. Next, we have our kanji for man, and this is made up of two radicals, again, the radical for rice field and the radical for power. And next we have our kanji for old, and this is made up of two radicals, a radical for 10 and a radical for mouth. So now that we've looked at a few of those, I want to kind of introduce you to the concept of true radicals versus modified radicals. So true radicals look the same no matter what kanji they are used to create. They stay basically the same. They may be thinned a little bit, maybe smushed vertically or horizontally to fit into their position, but they are basically the same shape, written the same way. But then we have modified radicals, and modified radicals can change their shape when they are used on the left, top, or bottom of a kanji. As far as I know, modified radicals are not used on the right side of a kanji. Uh, but yeah, let's take a quick look at those. We can see that they can change their shape just a little bit, or they can actually change their shape quite drastically. So a few example of these. First, we've got our kanji for person. We all know that can be read as hito, nin, jin, a number of ways depending. We see that it has a modified form if it's written to the left of a kanji, and also if it's the top of a kanji. Next, we have our kanji for fire. Now, if this is used as a radical and it appears on the bottom of a kanji, it changes quite significantly. It actually becomes kind of 4 little line segments there. Next, we have our kanji for water. This can be written very differently if it appears on the left side of a kanji, and pretty much the same way, but with slight modification if it appears on the bottom of a kanji. And then finally, we have our kanji for eat. And this, if it's written on the left side of a kanji, it's changed a little bit, not too much. In fact, if you remember, I think the kanji for nomu, I have to see if we've gone over that yet, but as the kanji for drink, it actually includes a modified version of the kanji for eat, and we're going to see that in a little bit. This is not an exhaustive list at all, but I just want to kind of introduce you to that concept that there are some radicals that actually do change their appearance somewhat if they are used in different places on a kanji. And looking at some radical breakdowns, first we're going to look at that kanji I just mentioned, the kanji for drink. So this includes 2 radicals. First is our radical for eat, which has been modified, and then is our radical for lack or gap. Next is our kanji for black. This also has 2 radicals. The first one is our radical for league, and the next one is our radical for fire, which again has been modified. And next up is our kanji for relationship, and this once again includes 2 radicals. Our radical for person, which has been modified, and our radical for middle. So now that we've looked at these, you're probably wondering, okay, and this is some information about radicals. It's kind of interesting, but you've already said you're not going to make us memorize all the different radicals. You know, I haven't provided you an exhaustive list of all the different radicals because there would be far too many to go into. But why is this something I should care about? Well, there are a few reasons. I think the most important reason, at least from my perspective as a non-native Japanese speaker, is they make it so much easier to look up kanji in a Japanese dictionary. For example, on a site like jisho.org, jisho.org has the option of actually trying to draw the kanji yourself for them to try and identify it. But oftentimes this can be tricky if you don't know the proper stroke order for the kanji you're trying to draw, for example, if you haven't seen it before. And also just trying to draw a kanji with a mouse is really tricky. However, they also have the option of looking up kanji by radical. You can plug in all the different radicals that you know are in the kanji, and it makes it so much easier to find a kanji that you're maybe not familiar with, but you've seen it written down. You know, maybe you're reading something and you encounter a kanji that's unfamiliar to you. You can't look it up by its sound because you don't know what its sound is, but you can look it up by its radicals. And I believe that most standard paper Japanese language dictionaries also allow you to look things up by radical. Another way that being familiar with radicals can help is that they may offer a hint about a kanji's pronunciation. This one is a little bit dicey. I would argue it's not the case more often than it is, but it still does happen from time to time. So it can be a little bit useful maybe in certain situations, even if it's just as a way of remembering the pronunciation of a kanji you've seen before. For example, if we look at these two kanji, the one on the left means 5, the one on the right means language, but it contains the radical for 5. And both of them can be read as go. This would be one of their onyomi in each case. And another example of this, on the left here, we have the kanji for 9. On the right, we have our kanji for research, which contains the radical 9. And both of these, with their onyomi, can be read as kyu or ku. And finally, radicals may offer a hint about a kanji's meaning. Once again, this can be very dicey. I've seen plenty of kanji with a number of radicals, and for the life of me, I haven't seen any connection between any of those radicals and the actual meaning of the kanji. Um, Again, I'm not very familiar with the history of the Japanese language, though. It's possible that these were chosen for a meaning. It's possible that there is a meaning in there that is more obvious to a native speaker of the language or someone who's familiar with the culture, but maybe not so much to an outsider. So once again, I wouldn't rely on this, but you know, it's a nifty little thing to kind of have at your disposal. And a few examples of this, we have our 3 kanji here. We've got our kanji for rain, our kanji for lightning, and our kanji for snow. And you'll notice that lightning and snow both include the radical for rain in there. So obviously there's a connection there. Lightning strikes usually when it's raining, and snow is basically frozen rain. So that the connection there, I would argue, is pretty easy to see. And for another example, we've got our kanji for water, and then we've got our kanji for swim, and our kanji for spring or fountain. That's spring as in a spring of water, obviously. And swim and spring/fountain both include the radical for water in them. And that was all I wanted to say about radicals, at least for now. It's not something to fret over or worry about too much, but it is something I want you to be aware of, especially, again, if you're using sites like jisho.org or other kind of online or even paper kanji dictionaries. It can be very helpful to know that information. But with that out of the way, let's move on and learn 10 more kanji today. So our first new kanji can mean private, I, or me. Its onyomi is shi, and its kunyomi include watakushi and watashi. Words that use this kanji include shiteki, personal or private, shigaku, private school, and watashitachi, we or us. This kanji has 7 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, stroke 5, stroke 6, and stroke 7. Our second kanji can mean name, noted, distinguished, and reputation. Its onyomi include mei and myou, and its kunyomi is na. Words that use this kanji include namae, name, yume, fame or famous, and meijin, expert. This kanji has 6 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, stroke 5, and stroke 6. Our next kanji can mean house or home. Its onyomi include ka and ke, and its kunyomi include ie, ya, or uchi. Words that use this kanji include kazoku, family, kokka, state, country, or nation, and ie or uchi, house. This kanji has 10 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, stroke 5, stroke 6, stroke 7, stroke 8, stroke 9, and stroke 10. Our next kanji means father. Its onyomi is hu, and its kunyomi is chichi. Words that use this kanji include oto-san, father, shinpu, Catholic priest, and sohubo, grandparents. This kanji has 4 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, and stroke 4. Our next kanji means mother. Its onyomi is bo, and its kunyomi include haha and mo. Words that use this kanji include oka-san, mother, hubo or chichi-haha, father and mother, and bokoku, one's homeland. This kanji has a total of 5 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, and stroke 5. Our next kanji means male. Its onyomi include dan and nan, and its kunyomi include otoko and o. Words that use this kanji include otoko no hito, man, dansei, man or male, and chonan, eldest son. This kanji has a total of 7 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, stroke 5, stroke 6, and stroke 7. And our next kanji means female. Its onyomi include jo, nyo, and nyou, and its kunyomi include onna and me. Words that use this kanji include onna no hito, woman, josei, woman or female, and shoujo, girl. This kanji has 3 strokes. Stroke 1, stroke 2, and stroke 3. Our next kanji can mean child, sign of the rat and the Chinese zodiac, and 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., but mostly we're probably going to use it to mean child. Its onyomi include shi, su, and tsu, and its kunyomi include ko and ne. Words that use this kanji include otoko no ko, boy, onna no ko, girl, and kodomo, child or children. This kanji has a total of 3 strokes: stroke 1, stroke 2, and stroke 3. Our next kanji can mean life, genuine, or birth. It has no onyomi, and its kunyomi include I, U, umare, O, Ha, Ki, Nama, Na, and Mu. Words that use this kanji include sensei, teacher, ikiru, to live or to exist, and gakusei, student. This kanji has 5 strokes: stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, stroke 4, and stroke 5. Our final kanji for today means friend. Its onyomi is yu, and its kunyomi is tomo. Words that use this kanji include tomodachi, friend or friends, shin-yu, close friend, and yuko, friendship. This kanji has a total of 4 strokes: stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, and stroke 4. Now let's practice using the kanji that we've learned in this lesson and previous lessons to make some words. Our first word today is Tomochoko, chocolate from a friend for Valentine's Day. To write this kanji, we are going to take the kanji for friend, and then we are going to add it to the katakana word choko. Tomochoko. Our next word is danjo, which means men and women. And to write this word, we're going to take the kanji for male and the kanji for female. Danjo. Our next kanji is kime, signature. We're going to take ki and the kanji for name. Kime. Our next word is mushi, selfless. Going to take mu and the kanji for I. Mushi. Our next word is ikka, whole family. To write this, we're going to take the kanji for one and the kanji for home. Ikka. Our next word is bunshi, molecule. To write this one, we're going to take the kanji for segment and the kanji for child. bunshi. Our next word is hubo, father and mother. And to write this word, we're going to take the kanji for father and the kanji for mother. Hubo. Our final word is ninensei, second year student or sophomore. And to write this word, we're going to take the kanji for two, the kanji for year, and the kanji for life. Ninensei. And that is all for today. Try to keep in mind what we learned about radicals, but again, don't stress too much over it. And as always, make sure that you go over our kanji writing practice sheet for this lesson and complete the writing practice. Ja, mata.